On a hot summer afternoon in Verona, Italy, a deadly, devastating brawl broke out between the Montague and Capulet families. Tybalt Capulet and his servants approached the Montague household and were stopped by Mercutio and Benvolio, a kinsman of the Montagues. As things started getting heated, Romeo Montague arrived before the fight started and stalled the fight from starting immediately. He found out the true motive of Tybalt wanting to fight Romeo and calling him a villain. As soon as this happened, Mercutio stood up for Romeo and started the fight against Tybalt, starting a deadly brawl in the streets of Verona. Moving on to Anthony, who is at the scene of the brawl. As the fight started earlier this afternoon, Romeo intervened between Mercutio and Tybalt during the middle of the fight, but by now the citizens of Verona started to gather around, and there were people all around this courtyard as the fight was happening. Romeo intervened between them to try and keep peace, but Tybalt, with his urge to fight, pierced Mercutio under Romeo's arm, which ultimately led to his death. Benvolio was the main witness to all of this fight and was the person who gave reasoning to our Prince Aeschylus. During this fight, after Mercutio was stabbed, when Romeo had intervened in the fight, Mercutio was rushed by Benvolio to the nearest medical area for assistance, where he shortly later passed away. Romeo, getting the news from Benvolio, who was weeping over Mercutio, felt enraged and wanted revenge for his friend Mercutio, who had decided to get involved in the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets. This caused the fight between Romeo and Tybalt to break out, and this time the citizens of Verona were sprawling, trying to find Tybalt because he had slain Mercutio. The crowd was searching for him, but during this, Romeo and Tybalt were in a deadly clash, and Romeo was able to pierce Tybalt and kill him. After citizens found Tybalt dead in the middle of the courtyard, they found Romeo, who had killed him. At this time, Romeo had fled the scene, barely missing our Prince Aeschylus as he arrived at the site of slain Mercutio and Tybalt. As Prince Aeschylus arrives into the courtyard, he sees the bodies of Mercutio and Tybalt and asks how this has happened and who did this. Why does the Montague and the Capulet feud always end in death and violence? Oh, this eerie darkness is threatening. This has been affecting our reputation and peace of Verona, and this is not a good look for the Montagues and the Capulets and Verona itself, said Prince Aeschylus. After this, Benvolio approaches the prince with all of the information on the fight, and arguments broke out between Lord Montague, Lady Montague, and the Capulet family, consisting of Lady Capulet and Lord Capulet. At this time, Prince Aeschylus announces that Romeo is banished from Verona, and if he is ever seen in Verona again, he will be slain on the site of his arrival. Both families weep over their losses, with Mercutio being a close and reliable friend to the Montagues, and Tybalt a kinsman of the Capulets.